Hi guys, welcome back to the video 4 of the wire and cable and wire space, and in today's video we are going to be doing Paramount Communication and COTS cable. This is the final of the cable and wire space, and after this we can move on to the other sector, and you guys let me know which sector do you want me to do. I am thinking more in terms of either jewelry, B2C because we didn't cover it yet, or probably hospitals or probably value fashion, that apparel space we can do. Okay, so you let me know which one you want to do. If not this, if any other sector, don't give me transformers and all, pharma and everything. I don't track that pharma, transformers, all of those mining, real estate. I don't do it. It is just not my sector. It's just not me, not my thing. I'm not interested whatever happens over there. Okay, but anyways, coming back right now, let us talk about these two companies, Paramount Communication and COTS cable. Okay, now let's first of all let us understand the business model a little bit in depth with Paramount Communication. So just like every other company that is there in this cable and wire space, they are also a company that manufactures and sells cable and wire. Now when you talk about cable and wire over here, to whom do they cater to, right? It is a mix of both B2C and B2B, but they're more into selling these power cables. That is the cables that go in your electrical, those electrical towers that are there, those telecom, railway. They are more focused over there. Even in terms of geographical split, if you see, 40% is coming from export and the other 60% is coming from domestic markets itself. Okay, now over here this Paramount Communications, if you look at it, it is much of like a like a turnaround story compared to other people, right? Other companies had none of these problems. Inka tha ki in 2010, I believe in the year 2007, they had acquired this company called as AEI Cables, okay, in the UK. Okay, and what had happened in this after acquiring this company in the UK, there was this global recession that came, right, post in 2008, because of which these people suffered a lot of losses. And then in because of this acquisition unhone jo kiya, then in 2010 what happened, they spoke to the bank, they created this corporate debt ka restructuring karna, then they got into this arc, jo ye management karta hai sab debt ka, they get rid of it and everything. They got that and they started creating this debt ka restructuring plan. Okay, then after that, I would say in 2017, right, around 190 crore of debt was there that was supposed to be repayable, okay, over the 8 years. Okay, this was in 2017. After that, I believe in 2024 May, they did a QIP or something. They raised around 300 crores, something in that range. Or they got rid of the debt. They did some capex with that, and now it is a debt free company. Okay, so उनका जो भी वहाँ पे 2010 में 2007 में whatever happened, that is a past story. It is completely gone. It is completely cleared right now. उनका कुछ debt नहीं है. ठीक है. Coming back right now, after all of these scenes, right, they have two plants. One कहाँ पे है ये, एक है in Haryana, एक है in Rajasthan. ठीक है. These are the two plants that are there, and these people now are catering from there only. They are catering to both domestic as well as in exports. ठीक है. पहले बात करते हैं इसका सेल्स का अगर आप देखते हो, सेल्स ग्रो बाय अराउंड 38%. अगर आप प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स देखते हो, प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स ऑल्सो ग्रो बाय 38%. और उसका पैट अगर आप देखते हो, पैट हार्डली ग्रो बाय 2%. Now why is that PBT grew by 38 and PAT grew by 2? Because last year, same quarter last year, there wasn't any significant cut in terms of tax. There was no payout in terms of tax. But if you see in this quarter, in this Q3, there is a huge payout in tax and no clue as to what is their tax structuring that last quarter, Q3 of last year they didn't pay and they are paying this year. Okay, so again, that is the only thing. But overall, a good set of numbers are both सकते हो. There is no problem over here, at least in terms of numbers. Okay, even EBITDA margin has been very very solid over here. EBITDA margin is at 9.4 versus 9% in the last Q3. So ठीक है, इनका यहाँ पे margins has not been affected like other companies where we saw 1 or 2 points का थोड़ा dip हुआ है. It has not been the case over here. ठीक है. When you talk about उनको order book भी, order book is also very तगड़ा. 620 crore का order book है, out of which again 326 crore is for that power cables. वो जो electrical lines में आप डालते हो ना, transmissions में वो सब. So that is where the majority of the order book is. Even in the order book also, the export ka portion is also much more. Okay, they're really focusing on export, and recently they've been in talks to get a lot of clients from the US and cater to the US. Unka bolna hai ki US mein if we can get a very strong holding, it is going to be better. And in the few years down the line, they're targeting that 40% of the export to come from the US only. ठीक है. उनका so a lot of analysts had this question कि अगर आप US में if you're targeting and now Trump is there and he's taxing people, putting tariffs left, right and center, what is your view on it? Okay, so management का बोलना था कि let's say if now he's proposed a tax. Trump has proposed a tax of 25% slash or cut on 25% tax on Canada and Mexico if you are importing that aluminum from them, right? Now, in case if that happens, then it would be easier for manufacturers to source that from Indian continent, because other than this Mexico and other than this Canada, if you look, the other biggest competitor is China, and China पे additional 10% tax डाल दिया है. Then other than these three countries, if you look on everybody else, the tax structure is same, so it wouldn't really affect it wouldn't be like competitiveness effect hoga, because if they are taxing India 10%, then like the other countries also where they're sourcing off, it is going to be the same tax rate. So the management doesn't see any kind of disruption happening because of the policy changes or because of Trump's new tax rate. And this is something maybe they're telling it right now, but this is something we can track and see, because aage jaake if we're seeing that the export ka portion is coming down and down and down, then we know, right, ki like whatever they told is not right. Other than that, if you look other than this, if you see now, if you look at their capex, right? In capex also, the current two plants that are there, right, which is in Jaipur, which is in Haryana and Rajasthan, they will reach a maximum capacity by next year end, okay? So what they're doing is and they see a lot of demand, okay? Bola tha na, US mein they're eyeing a lot of demand, and even in the domestic market also. So they're trying to put up another plant in Madhya Pradesh, which will be, the capacity of this Madhya Pradesh plant is going to be equal to the existing plant that they have in Haryana and Rajasthan combined. So हरियाणा एंड राजस्थान का दो प्लांट का कितना कैपेसिटी है, उसका सेम कैपेसिटी होगा इस एक प्लांट से ही, ठीक है? सो दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ केपेक्स दे आर टारगेटिंग, एंड ऑलरेडी दे हैव अक्वायर्ड अ लैंड, एक लैंड खरीदा है, एंड दे आर जस्ट दे हैव अ लैंड हैज बीन अलॉटेड टू देम, बट वो ही दे हैव टू गेट द लैंड रजिस्टर्ड, दैट एंटायर फॉर्मेलिटी इज still yet to be done, and probably by this year end, this year end is already like it should be done, and the capex should already start, that is in FY this 25 year financial year mein, 25-26 में it should be done, and the total cost of this capex is going to be around 250 crore, and by and this will be completely done by FY27, ठीक है? And FY27 में from this plant you can expect around 500 to 600 crore, and by FY28 it will be fully operationalized, like absolutely 100% operationalized. So this is one capex that they're eyeing forward, because उन्होंने clearly बोला कि like we can achieve probably 2000 crore in terms of top line using this capacity that we have, the existing capacity that we have in Haryana and Rajasthan, ठीक है? And उनका यही कहना था कि like that maximum revenues we expect from our existing plants by the end of the next year will not be able to exceed more than 2000 crore. इसके बाद मुझे कुछ और करना है, then I have to put up an additional capacity, इसलिए I'm putting up this मध्य प्रदेश का capex. And अभी तो, and they were telling कि like see, in 2024 my entire thing is over, right? Like my debt got over and everything. Now there is no problem for us also, and we are very cautious about everything. So this is our way to go, they were telling. The other thing, how will this 250 crore be funded? They are planning a route of both, either a debt or raise equity QIP करके. That is something we'll have to wait and watch कि like क्या करना है. So overall good set of numbers, capex और everything is done. Little bit concern इसके like operating leverage भी है यहाँ पे, just वो taxation के वजह से ये नहीं हो रहा है. But something we'll have to wait and track and see if it can match up, if it can continue to grow like this, right? Because in the past there were a lot of issues, right? But also that past shouldn't cloud your judgment for the future. So we will have to wait over here and keep tracking the company and see if they can grow sustainably at this rate, at this 30 to 40% in between that range, and they can sustain that, because only if they can sustain this growth rate, then they can command that premium valuation, right? Otherwise it is not possible, okay? The other one is यहाँ पे Quartz cable is also similar, but overall I would say between most, whether it is Quartz, Delton, Dynamic and Paramount, ये जो चार छोटा company है, the difference is main is in terms of उनका geography. Who do they cater to? Export or domestic market, that is one. The second is in terms of the product mix, like somebody is catering to low voltage ज़्यादा, somebody is catering high voltage में ज़्यादा, that is one thing. The third, I would say the mix is mostly mostly in terms of the sector, like one is concentrating more on the B2C, the other one is concentrating more on B2B, and or in B2B also somebody is concentrating more on railway, somebody in telecom, telecom, somebody in power. So these are the three main जो भी बोलो एक तीन company में there are three different categories. This is the basis which you can separate. Okay, कॉर्ड्स केबल्स ऑल्सो सेम 94% उनका डोमेस्टिक से आते हैं, एक्सपोर्ट्स पे सिर्फ 6% आता है, ठीक है. सो इनका भी रिजल्ट बहुत अच्छा है, सेल्स इज अप 22%, पैट इज अप अराउंड 58%. यहाँ पे आई थिंक दिस इज वन सच कंपनी कंपेयर टू और कौन था, डायनामिक केबल्स. आई थिंक दीज टू कंपनीज आर द ओनली वन इन द कैटेगरी दैट एक्सपीरियंस नॉट जस्ट अ रियली गुड सेल्स ग्रोथ बट ऑल्सो हैड एन ऑपरेटिंग लेवरेज ऑल्सो. सो इसमें कुछ बोलने का नहीं है बिकॉज दिस पीपल डोंट डू कॉन कॉल, पीपीटी नहीं है, प्रेस रिलीज नहीं है. The only thing over here, the recent update is there has been a GST ka demand ki like GST offices have raised a demand of 98 lakhs ka demand kiya hai in logo se, and these people are obviously telling this is not right, wahi case lagayega, they'll fight it legally and all of it, ठीक है. So that is about the entire wire and cable industry, ठीक है. Now when you look at the wire and cable industry, we covered part 1, part 2, part 3, this is part 4, right, video 4. And one thing that you see, right, very common, you saw that margins for more or less most of the companies has been squeezed, right, that we saw across the category. Second, the demand that is there, you can see the chota companies that are there, they are getting benefited more from the demand because unka base itna small hai, it is okay for them to do another capex, and us capex se they're able to generate more revenue, right, because unka base small hai, they're able to take that advantage. Because of that small base, you can see that huge growth in terms of numbers. Okay, but if you have to rank it, right, let's say if you have to do the P2P and rank it, you see first in terms of growth rate, only in growth rate alone, if you see that Delton Cables is winning the race, right, because 71% ka growth rate hai, which is not there. I mean, I don't think anybody is even close to Delton Cables in terms of that growth rate. Okay, then the other one, if you see growth rate plus operating leverage, if I have to combine, there are two companies over here in the first position. One is Delton and the other one is Dynamic Cables. Okay, Paramount I would still put in second position because I mean I do not know how long. I mean because of the issues that has been there, although they have executed really nicely. One thing is ki, like nobody knows ki, like if this number is sustainable or not. Although in the last 1 year the numbers has been quite sustainable for them, right? It has been a really great set of numbers for them. From last December to this December, if you see, it's been somewhere between 40 to 55%. But that is the thing, right? Then Delton and Dynamic, followed by Paramount, followed by I would say KEI, then Polycab, then KEI, Polycab, then Havells. KEI, Polycab. I would put KEI and Quartz Cable together, then Polycab, then Havells. The last one would be RR Cables because that is the only company that has revised its guidance, right? And whose position is really bad because that is the only company jiska volume growth घटा है on a negative 2.4%, right? Volume growth is down by 2.4% because if you look at other people, उनका sales growth है, सिर्फ margins has been squeezed because of this copper prices. But सिर्फ RR Cable का ही हालत बहुत गंदा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है? So if I have to put Delton and Dynamic, I would put together, but only with respect to growth rate. If you see, Delton has been above Dynamic Cable across now I think 3 to 4 quarters. Then we have Paramount Communications, then we have KEI and Quartz Cable. I would put together KEI, Quartz Cable, फिर होगा हमारा Polycab. Then because Polycab I'm putting below KEI because of the same reason. I think if you watched video 1, you would know that Polycab का growth rate घटा है, on the other hand KEI का growth rate थोड़ा सा बढ़ा है, right? And second thing for Polycab is the guidance ka revision. In terms like earlier the growth rate was higher and now the growth rate is coming up to 19 to 20% based on the guidance they have given indirectly in their Project Spring. Then I would put Havells, right, again, and RR Cable at last because again RR Cable is, I mean, what do you want me to tell with RR Cables, right? I think they have been the worst affected, with the exports, with their FMEG division and with this copper cup prices, right? So even I would say Havells is a much better, in a much better position in spite of that huge base, large base compared to RR Cable. So overall that's that about, the entire cable and wire space. I know a lot of you all have been asking for other companies such as Finolex Cable, Diamond Cables and all of these things. But I do not have, it's one thing to read a company, but a completely, like if I can read and I can just note down the con call points, I can understand. But it is completely different, to read, collect the thoughts in your head, connect the points and then explain it in a video. What looks so easy to you while I'm talking, it takes time, for me to connect all the dots. So what I'm telling actually makes sense to you, right? Like it's completely different to learn but teach to the other person. So that's one thing, and it takes a lot of time and I have a lot more of sectors to cover, so I can't, it's not physically possible for me. Like I try my best to cover all the companies that I can, but it is not physically possible for me to cover each and every companies in a video format, right? So, and if you watch my videos, you would always hear me tell one thing, that not to be even dependent on me. Like I would want anybody who's watching the videos to be independent, okay, like so that the entire you do the entire work. The reason I do this video is to show you guys that tracking can be done. It is not impossible, it is possible, you can do. And how this tracking should be done every quarter, that is the entire purpose of the video. So I would suggest like all the other cable and wire companies that are there, at least if you watch these videos, you know the structure, you know what to do, right? And you know like how to look at these companies and what are the pointers to look at, right? You can read it and you can do it by yourself. And the checklist for this, obviously, we have that investment checklist workshop, right? I'm going to link the registration link below in the comment as well as in the description box. You can get that investment checklist ka workshop, and in that it is given कि like कैसे तुम you can take a sector and analyze that sector. कौन से points को आपको देखना है? How do you connect one point to another point? You can get that workshop. You can and then you can do this all by yourself, right? And you can analyze those companies all by yourself. Okay? So that's it about this wire and cable, cable and wire space that is there. You guys let me know in the comment section what you want me to do next. Although I'm eyeing the I'm eyeing the apparel space and the jewelry space, because we have done like a couple of companies there now. Like in jewelry, we've already covered in the B2B space, what is that, Sky Gold and RBC with the con call highlights we have done. And so I'm thinking either I can do that, or probably in the apparel space, because in the apparel we've already done B2 retail, so we can continue with the apparel, fashion apparel space, right? So that is something we can do. Or you can let me know which sector do you want me to cover. Again, there are few sectors that I don't cover, like real estate, pharma, chemicals, mining, solar, transformer. I mean, see, I have to be very honest with myself if I understand something and if I don't understand something. And it's not even about that. There are some companies that I just don't like. Like when I open the PPT itself, I feel like you like, अरे ये क्या है? It feels like मैं school का कुछ पढ़ाई कर रही हूँ. I mean, there are certain sectors that is not me, not my thing, and I would say these are some of the sectors that is not me, not my thing, and it's okay, right? And it's very important as an investor to know what your area of competence is, and you can find as many plays as you can once you know what area of competence is. And see, as a human also, it is not possible, right? Like you can't be there at every party, right? You can't be attendee at every party. So same here also, I don't want to attend also some parties. So ठीक है भाई, जो पार्टी हमें समझ में आते हैं हम उसी में खुश है. So that's that about that's it about the entire video. I'll see you guys again in another video. Until then, take care. Bye.